cigarettes. Yeah, my sister. Thank you, sister. Anyway, very nice. Needed that. It's been a while, like weeks and weeks, and so it's nice. Really, just calm me right down, mostly. So, ooh, this guy. Yes, I do have to be calm. You know, it's just this anti-philosophy thing is all I can. I mean, that's the only way you can sit there and just generalize what it is. It's just some sort of like anti-philosophy. It's just on every level, there seems to be an effort to say, look, we can see some obvious flaws here. We need a way to make it go away, so we can play a silly game. Because if you're really going to do philosophy, you're going to recognize the Darwin-Freud problem. You know, that it's, you know, crude forces that built us, and that we retain a crude and stupid, silly psychology that runs us. And that intelligence doesn't have much to do with the game we're playing on Earth. And you can sort of see that in how badly things get, you know, they spiral out of control. You know, presidents having silly blowjobs and all this silly stuff that goes on. Yeah, you're deciding who's going to live and die in wars, and but you can't resist a silly little blowjob. You know, that kind of thing. You're just like, does anybody take anything seriously at all? Or is everybody just a solipsistic, selfish motherfucker, and they just can't help being that? They just can't, they just won't help being that. Even for the sake of conversation. Like, they won't even say, they won't even pretend to tell a real story, because they know as soon as they tell a real story, Red Riding Hood and Goldilocks are going to sound so stupid they won't be able to go back. So as soon as they talk some of the real language, the real words of reality, yeah, they know they're going to be stuck being demonstrating that they are rational, and that they just don't have this excuse of saying, I'm too stupid. Yeah. So anyway, so I'll play just this middle part, because it should take me an hour. Because there's just so much to work with here, you know, in terms of the way he just says things casually. It's just like, there's no way you believe that. There's no way that's the way it happened. There's no, you know, I mean, just, it's a plot flaw. His videos are just a string, like a movie. Just a string of plot flaws. Yeah. So it's like, you know, the stupid Lord of the Rings movies. You know, they have been running, and you just see them, especially when it's running. Like, there's a scene where all three of them are running cross country, right? I guess they don't have no horse. And they're running and running and running and running and running. And they're making it look like the troll guy is, oh, he just can't keep up, and he's just so much slower. But after days of running, the troll is still only 20 feet behind. So he's actually run just as fast as the other two guys, right? Just as fast physically. He hasn't lost a single step. He is just as fast as Beto Gonzalez, you know, or whatever. He's just as fast as everybody else. Even though he looks short and stubby and fat and incapable of running fast, he's running just as fast as Mr. Speedo. I mean, you know, you're just like, so this couldn't really happen this way. This story is a lie. Yeah, it couldn't happen this way. They'd have to carry the troll or something else, because it couldn't happen the way they have displayed it. It's not possible that it happened that way. I know it's a fairy tale, I'm just saying. It's a plot flaw. And it's one of the ones that they just shouldn't commit. You know, the ones where you have talking trees. Okay, yes, we suspend disbelief and all that stuff. But, I mean, basic physics, come on. Anyway. Not really the point I wanted to get to, is it? No. But, I mean, the point is that this is a problem in life, is that there's just plot flaws everywhere, and especially in philosophy. Plot flaws everywhere. And, I'm going to point them out.
I never had any terribly negative experiences with him, and my break with the church had nothing to do with that. It had more to do with, as I say, just ruminating on what it all meant. The fact that my mother died an atheist, and her last contact with the Catholic Church was a nun telling her, okay, you're dying of cancer now. You better cleanse your soul or you're going to fucking hell forever.
I'm sure the nun said fucking hell forever. But what would you expect from a nun? So what was it, a Catholic hospital? You expected something different? Who invited the nun? I mean, I'm sorry. Like I said, what would be the expectation? What exactly is the function of the hierarchy of the Catholic Church but to sit there and just inform you you're going to hell? What else do they do? They have some other purpose? Sorry, I don't get it. It's supposed to be a personal relationship with you and God, basically. I mean, you shouldn't even need the confessor. You should be able to... God's office is supposed to be open all the time. You want to confess, you can do it to him himself. You know, the only reason why there's priests is because people are afraid. You know? Come on. Silly critique.
And, I don't know, I guess...
I mean, when you think about all the evils Catholics do in the world, right? This is the one he picks on. Being honorable to their faith. Okay, somebody actually saying, I believe in God, I believe in eternal damnation, and I believe, look, all you do is mumble these stupid words and you're off the hook. So yeah, I guess I'm going to tell the person they better mumble the fucking goddamn words. So for doing that, that's the horror of the Catholic Church. Okay? Protesting abortion, no, that's not the horror. Getting in the, invading the privacy of people, no, that's not the horror. Denying people the right to die, oh, that's not a horror. I mean, come on. Fuck you, silly person.
Being my mother, if I'd been present in the room when that took place, I might have assaulted the nun.
Right, so would you assault a person protesting, say if you had a daughter and she was going to get a legitimate medical procedure, an abortion, would you be punching out the fucking Catholics waving their fucking fetus signs? If your father is dying before you and, he would like a graceful exit and there's a bunch of Catholics protesting in court saying he can't have the right to die, would you go punch one of them, please? Yeah, I mean, it's just so funny. This guy talks about tyranny. He doesn't even know what tyranny is. Those are the tyrannies of religion. Saying something like, you're going to go to hell. Yeah, well, who cares, silly person? Go ahead, damn me as much as you want, you silly bitch. I mean, a nun telling you you're going to go to hell is the tyranny? Fuck you.
The protective nature of an Irish son towards his mother is renowned as well, and I seem to have...
Oh, blah, blah. I'm just so sick of this. Like, oh, yes, us Irish know how to love our mommies, and the rest of the people don't know how to do it. I mean, it's just so fucking silly. I'll just make up some stories about how the Irish can't find their dick if it was, a kitchen table. If it was hiding behind a mug of beer. I mean, what the fuck is this shit? Will you lay off this fucking ethnic crap already? Like it's somehow something you own? I'm an ethnicity. Aren't I cool because I'm an ethnicity? I mean, we've already gotten to the point where we figured out that dramatic differences like skin colors completely different and some kind of thing like 6 foot tall versus 4 foot tall. That shit doesn't matter. And you're saying some sort of silly crap about, well, we spent a little more time on this island and therefore we're completely different people. Fuck you. Silly shit.
That, but as I say, I had the idea at that point, and for many years afterwards, not just that I didn't believe in Catholicism, but I thought that the clergy were actually bad. That the clergy were an evil force in the world, the Roman Catholic clergy. Although that got mitigated later on because I sort of met some decent enough clergy.
Right, some hypocrisy clergy. You probably went out drinking with them, and yeah, you just talked about how it's all bullshit and we're just selfish cunts and we just take what we can get, and we'll just keep saying, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? You met some what's in it for me clergy, right? Yeah, but you obviously didn't meet any that were on a mission. You obviously didn't meet any that gave a shit about anything, because if they did, you'd find it obnoxious that they want to fucking fix things. Yeah, oh, you want to cure the poor? Didn't Jesus tell you the poor will be with you always? So let go of that one, fucker. I mean, how full of shit can you be? Obviously, you never believed in God. Duh. Okay? I mean, if you can't take, if somebody tells you a story about, well, you're going to go to a place where everything is fine and wonderful, or you're going to go to a place where everything is not fine and not wonderful, and you're going to do it forever, um, and you can't, and obviously, if you believe in that, how can you not take it seriously? How can you not take seriously finding out, well, what's the rules about which way you fall? And then obeying those rules. So obviously you didn't fucking take any of it seriously.
Some decent enough people, and I visited countries where the Catholic Church is more or less a reasonably positive force. Like if you go to Latin America, they're not. Guilt is very rarely resorted to, and
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's even true, but whatever. They seem obliged to, they seem obsessed with, oh, the Pope's visiting, let's all bow. So, I mean, they seem pretty drony and oni to me. So whether they're doing that because they're scared of God or whether they're doing that because they're, idol worshippers. I mean, whether they're dancing around the totem pole because they like the pictures or they're dancing because they're afraid if they don't dance they're going to get smited. I don't really give a shit. It's both behaviors are silly as fuck.
the priests are more your friend than your boss.
Right, they steal your money and give you back a little bit of it. So that's your friend. Oh, I'm your friend, the priest. I'll take your money, then I'll eat some of it, and then I'll give you back the poo. Yeah, really, great deal it is. Oh, what a great deal they get from the fucking Catholic Church.
On all the social programs that are to be had in most of Latin America. And they're generally very close to their flocks, which in the European tradition, or not so much the Italian tradition, but say in the Northern European tradition, the priest is somebody who's very remote from you. Not like that.
Yeah, I think they still got castles over there, or down there. Yeah, or whatever.
Not in Latin America at all, especially the lower clergy like the friars or Christian.
Right. I'm sure they don't have any gold in the closets and all the shiny this and the shiny that and the polished this and the polished that and blah 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 blah. Yes, they go to church in the stable like Jesus. Right? No.
Christian brothers or whatever, they're usually just drawn from exactly the same class as the people that they're serving, and
All right, tell me some more stories. Okay, Catholicism in the fucking South America is okay, but Catholicism in England is no good. Whatever, who cares? Oh, that's right, I don't.
usually they've got a girlfriend on the side, which they flock.
Yeah, so it just makes them more more hypocrisy. Yes, hypocrisy is great, isn't it wonderful? Yeah, we can all be hypocrites. Let's all be hypocrites. Let's all sing the hypocrite. Let's all be the hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite. And let's just celebrate it like it's a good thing. No, it's not a good thing. It sucks. It absolutely fucking sucks. Hypocrisy sucks, shithead.
Will ignore that kind of thing. So yeah, I would look at that and I'd say, okay, maybe Catholicism isn't a totally horrid thing, but just the implications I think are
blah 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 blah. So yeah, just let's use impossibly strangled. It's not a terrible, horrible thing. It's just an awful, horrible thing. Oh, fuck.
are the same the world over when it comes to Christianity, and I can't see it any other way than
Yeah, well, I can't see it any other way than it doesn't. See, we're going to finally get to the point here, but I mean, I can't see anything about your philosophy that's any more horrid or any more hypocritical. I mean, it doesn't even require hypocrisy because you're just overtly saying, I'm a selfish son of a bitch and I'm going to live that way. Fuck you. So that, I mean, there's no hypocrisy because you're not even trying to be something else. I mean, at least they're trying to hit an ideal and failing. Cheating and such, and women and whatever. You're not even trying. So I mean, how the fuck can you be better than the failure of trying? Oh, that's right, you can't be. You're worse. You're a worse blight on fucking planet Earth than the goddamn Christians. And for me to say that makes you pretty goddamn horrible, because I absolutely can't despise the Christians.
Like Nietzsche sees it.
The way Nietzsche, right, a despisable, disgusting, debaucherous sack of shit human being who couldn't, like, again, had no positive plan whatsoever. His positive plan was me horny, me fucky fuck. You know, the rest of it's just a critique of what everybody else's shoes are too ugly, everybody else's pants are droopy, everybody else's shirt isn't tucked in properly, everybody else doesn't have properly ironed collar, blah, 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 blah. It was just a naggy little nitpicking waste of fucking goddamn space who offered nothing as an alternative but me horny, me fucky fuck.
Having said that, it all depends on the effect that it has on you. It doesn't have a negative effect on my wife at all. My wife.
Yeah, whatever. Negative effect is a, interesting choice of words, right? Like we could all say, what's a negative effect? A delusion, is that a negative effect? You have a delusion that your nuclear power plant isn't fundamentally and catastrophically flawed. So it's harmless then? Because you feel good? Again, we're talking about fundamental philosophies that change and shape the character of our whole civilization and the destiny of humans on this planet. It's really not about whether you're happy with your philosophy or not. It's whether your philosophy does anything to make you kind of useful and civilized and purposeful and functional. Functional by the definition that I will explain in coming moments.
Just doesn't think about it. To her, religion is something you experience. It's not something that you talk about or...
Yeah, it's like pink balloon. So you're basically telling us your wife is a fucking retard. Wonderful. And you got her pregnant. So you molested a retard and got her pregnant. Brilliant.
Analyze or anything like that. It's an atavistic thing.
Right, you're going to hell. Atavistic. Yeah, okay, yeah. There's a heaven, there's a hell, there's a God. Oh, this is just something I experience. I don't understand it or conceptualize it or relate it to the function of the universe or even the function of my daily life. God says animals is for chewy chew. Yeah. She's retarded. You're molesting a retard.
So I don't, I sit sort of respectfully through Grace every time she says it. She often forgets.
Right, so certain retardation is acceptable if her pussy is gaping enough and pointed in my direction. But if you're a nun talking about what your convictions are, fuck you, I'll punch you in the face. Yeah, okay, this makes sense, right? Oh, wait a minute, it doesn't make any sense at all.
I don't pray alone. She knows darn well not to ask me to do that.
Why does she know? How does she know that? What have you said to her? You're a stupid retard, bitch. Okay, yeah, okay, you got one hell of a flapping pussy, but you're dumb as a stick. Is that what you said? And if you say any more of that dumb stick shit to me, I'm just gonna fucking punch you in the face like a goddamn yapping nun.
But, yeah, I'm willing to tolerate it.
Right. Because I got mine. You know, what's in it for me? I'll tell you what's in it for me. Winky, wink. Yeah, she's barely 16.
But it's an interesting thing where you can actually believe all of it, but not take it seriously to heart until you actually sit and think about it. And then
oh, yeah, she actually sit and think about it, like thinking. You can't do that till you're like, what, 65, right? So you got a couple more years to go. 2, 3, 4. Fuck.
That causes a crisis of faith. Faith that never really was there in the beginning, I guess. And
well, whatever. Faith is a concept. You either do it or you don't do it. It's like pissing or pooping, okay? You either do faith or you don't do faith, right? You know, it's not whether you can't, like, have faith. You gotta do faith. Faith isn't, it's one of these, Yoda would say, faith you do not have, you do, It's just a do thing. You pretend. Faith is pretending. Faith is basically saying, I will now become an imbecile. I will behave as the definition of an imbecile is. I will believe things for no good reason and in spite of piles and piles of evidence. Because mommy says so. Or whatever. It's what I have to pay to get to the pussy.
It basically disappeared once I decided to try and analyze it. And again, the idea of the...
Oh, well, whatever. You tried to analyze. There's not much to analyze. It's a 2,000-year-old fable, okay, that doesn't even make any sense. I mean, it's not even, like Goldilocks, okay, you say, all right, wait a minute, all right, bears, porridge, I don't know, maybe, well, I don't know. It gets all kind of crazy, right? And so there's a point where you just say, yeah, I don't have to look very hard at this story to say, I don't know, I'm not going to bet much on it. Like maybe a penny, but if I have to like bet a nickel, nah, I ain't gonna just throw a nickel away for nothing.
Afterlife and the insane moral dilemmas in Christianity drove me away. I said, this is...
Yes, insane moral dilemmas like do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Dilemma. Not really.
Possible. Even at a young age, I probably would have understood what Nietzsche had said about the debt that can never be repaid.
Okay, the debt that can never be repaid. The death is what it sounded like, but I guess it's the debt that can never be repaid. What debt would that be? I don't even understand that concept at all. I don't understand what you're talking about. There's no obvious debt that I start with. There's only the deficit I run as I exist. Right? I mean, I don't there wasn't a mess before I got here. And now there's just, I'm responsible for how much shit I shat in the neighbor's yard. Yeah, I got a debt to them now.
The debt that we owe God as imperfect humans.
And the debt we owe God as imperfect humans. Again, what's the debt? I don't understand any of this bullshit. What do we owe? What? We try to live decently? Ooh, horror. Oh yeah, well, I can't do that, right? Well, that's asking too fucking much. Be decent and honest and all that oh, fuck you, I can't do that.
It's the same thing that I always ask people. This is one of my objections to the anti-natalists that I've spoken to. Not all of them, but a lot of them. The idea that...
I wish you would name names. I really wish you would. I really wish you would name names once in a while. You name names from the past. I don't know why you're afraid to name names in the current present and projections into the future and such. Why is the past okay? I can talk about them. Why? Because they're dead and they can't dig out of the ground and punch you in the face, right? Oh, okay, now I get it. Just more evidence of Irish pussy. Flapping Irish pussy.
Guilt phenomenally exists in the universe.
Guilt phenomenally exists in the universe. So again, like there's a guilt ether, okay, and it comes and it infects you like smallpox, like it's an actual virus or an actual microbe. And so guilt somehow now, we're saying guilt is a microbe or a virus. Yeah. We're not saying it's an idea, an understanding. No.
Obligation phenomenally exists in the universe.
Obligation phenomenally exists in the universe. No one's saying it phenomenally exists, right? It's not a virus. It's not a thing. No. It's a conception, an understanding. A conception meaning like it's connected to the idea of concepts. So the simplest... Well, I'll wait till he posts the challenge here.
It doesn't.
Okay, he says it doesn't exist phenomenally. Well, no one's claiming that, so that's a straw man, right? We're claiming that it does exist as something we can conceptually recognize as a relationship between one thing and another thing. So in this case, it'd be like the one thing would be you, the other thing would be your neighbor, and that you can't eat your neighbor and call it win. Right? That's not too complicated, right? Like if you had a twin brother, Yeah, you couldn't barbecue and eat your twin brother and win. That wouldn't be winning. That would be eating your own ass.
Or if it does, you're going to have to prove it to me.
Right, okay, I'm going to have to prove it to you. Well, I see, the problem is your expectations of proof are preposterously silly, because you're again asking me to put it on a plate. Say, there it is on the plate. You see it? You see it? You see it? No, can't do that. No, and then you have to be willing. If you're going to say to somebody, prove it to me, well, then you're going to have to get, like, on the witness stand. Or there's going to have to be some connection. You're going to have some obligation to answer some questions once in a while with actual answers. Okay, not glib cliches, but you're going to actually have to answer fucking questions.
It's your obligation to prove that to me.
Why? You don't have to prove it to you any more than any other theory has to be proven. So you have some sort of default theory, presumably, that doesn't have to be proven to you. Somehow your solipsistic perception of reality, that is, what's in it for me, that didn't have to be proven to you. Or somehow that was proven to you through what? Because Nietzsche says so? There's no logic in Nietzsche that explains why, except to say, well, the only thing I can conclude is that we're on a bug planet and we should be superbugs. That's your definition of a proof? Huh? We're on a pirate ship, so we should be pirates? That's it for you? Whatever boat you're on, you just float with it? You don't ask any questions? That's proof enough? The only proof you need is to say, what? I have slimy penis, therefore will march to vagina? Period. I will ask no questions. I will make no judgments. That's it?
That
Teletubby. Porridge, right? It's just about the porridge. You fly across the universe, land in what, a rabbit hole, and then you just go porridge forever.
the ought phenomenally exists. And then...
Yeah, the ought phenomenally exists. Phenomenally, I don't know, again. Yeah, it exists as a relationship between two things, or four things, or 10 things. And it exists because of, like, responsibility. So the simple analogy, let's say, there's a box, and it has rats in it. Now, then they're doing things. Rat things. Now, if you were to look at the box, there would be no logic that would tell you or direct you to say, that rat matters, fuck the rest of the rats. Who cares? The box of rats will be described and defined. All the categories and all the properties of the box of rats. The only properties are ones related to that one rat. Little white-headed rat. The rest of the rats don't matter. They have no properties. They fit no categories. They are of no consequence whatsoever beyond being food or fodder for that one rat. Now, can you tell me that that's more logical than a nun talking about hell? If somebody said that the box of rats is about that one little white-headed rat, and this was his theory, that's somehow more sensible than a nun talking about hell. You think it's more appropriate to punch the nun in the face than it is to punch the asshole saying that one rat matters, the rest of the rats don't. That's more... I mean, I'm just saying, what do you want for proof? I have to explain to you that all the other consciousnesses are conscious and that you can't exist, you can't live your life at all practically in any way whatsoever without affecting them, and that's where the word responsibility comes from? That's what the word responsibility intends to describe, is your relationship to all these other things that are of our equal value to you? You can't understand that? I mean, this is a direct question. You don't understand that? You don't understand how that's a proof of the existence of responsibility? The proof of an existence of an ought is that it's not about the one fucking rat? That all the other rats have exactly the same constituent properties, and whatever the one rat, if there is anything that's important, if there is anything, the one rat has it. If you're going to say the one rat has it, you have to concede that the rest of the rats have it. Or you have this insane theory that I'm, what, a cartoon character in your super reality? And you're going to tell me that's a more valid theory than a nun talking about hell? That the nun deserves to be punched in the face and you, the solipsist, doesn't? Get real.
Then even if you do sort of raise heaven and earth to, bad metaphor, to prove it to me, I'm going to say...
Okay, raise heaven and earth to prove what? Prove that there's more than one rat in the box. Is that all? That's it? Really? That's my only obligation, isn't it? As soon as there's more than one rat in the box, isn't there an automatically responsibility built in? A responsibility to get the most out of your existence in terms of box function? The collective will... You are part of the collective. Maybe you don't like that. Maybe you don't like that rule. But that's the rule. You're not an isolated thing in the universe. You can't separate your existence from the existence of the collective. And what will be defined in the end, what will ultimately have mattering weight, is the welfare of the collective. The balance of your influence. You don't understand that? You really don't. You really don't understand that whatever fluid of value we possess, whatever amount of it, whatever function of it we could possibly possess, that it's possessed by all the other feeling, conscious things. And that as they interact, there is an exchange of that value. You can't understand that. You need some heaven and earth to be moved for you to understand that. Oh, tragedy.
Enough clergy and some decent enough people on the side, which their flock will ignore. And again, the idea of the afterlife and the insane moral dilemmas in Christianity, prove it to me. It's your obligation to prove. This is precisely the tendency that has resulted in the resurgence of militant Islam. Switched over. When you start questioning that, people just sort of...
Alright, so let's go back.
Like the same way that I sort of know that or if it does, you're going to have to prove it to me.
Okay.
It's your obligation to prove that to me. That the ought phenomenally exists. And then even if you do sort of raise heaven and earth to, bad metaphor, to prove it to me, I'm going to say, why did you have to explain all that to me? Why shouldn't I just know that automatically?
Well, it's kind of silly, right? I mean, because, yes, this is again where you're taking no account for evolution. Evolution is about making monsters. Okay, it makes monsters. Look at crocodile. Look at all these things. They're monstrous. Okay, that's what evolution makes. It doesn't make machines to be beneficial to the other machines. It doesn't make machines because it understands there needs to be a balance of value and the things have to contribute. No, it just makes machines, and sometimes they're a hive, and that's what we are essentially now, is a hive of human beings. And it makes these machines, and they infect and take over and spread and do all these kinds of tug and forth, back and forth, but nature has no conception of the value of the consciousness. It doesn't respect the library. It doesn't respect think of any institution you have any respect for. The David. It would eat the David with microbes. It would grow mold on it. It would consume it and destroy it. That's its values. It has none. So you're telling me, why don't I innately have them? Well, you don't innately have them because the force that made you, okay, has no incentive to put them there. The only way we acquired understanding is through the gaining of knowledge. Knowledge. Even the Christians can get that part right. It's the fruit that grows on a tree, so to speak, is the metaphor. But yes, it grows as our understanding grows. But it's knowledge that makes value visible. you're going to you're going to refute that or dispute that? That's where the core of the core of having the vision thing, to having the perceptual sight faculty, the special sight, the enhanced vision, the enhanced radar to see through the bullshit, is provided by knowledge. That's why you weren't born with it. You have to acquire it. It's a skill.
Like the same way that I sort of know that the floor is under my feet right now. Why don't I just...
Well, again, so to ask the why isn't the universe intrinsically and fundamentally smarter than us? Stupid thing to ask or expect, right? Because it's made from crude forces. It's made from time and the interaction of crude things, simple things. We're the complex thing. We can do the complex things. We can do the complex math. That math is real. That math isn't fake. There are real relationships between the sides of the triangle and the angles inside the triangle. Those aren't fake relationships. They're real. There's a real relationship between the diameter of a circle and the circumference of a circle. It's a real relationship. And the relationship between you and your responsibility to the other yous existing is as real as the relationship of diameter to circumference.
Know that obligation exists. There's no answer to that, of course.
I don't know. I mean, there's no answer. I mean, you're just saying there's no. It doesn't matter how many ways I try to metaphor to you that you're not the only thing of value in the universe. You're just not going to be. There's no way I can make it known to you that the other things also are carrying value. That they're all fragile glasses, and that you just can't go around. You know that your glass is fragile. You know that if it has a nail in its eye, it's a bad thing. You can't understand that now you have a responsibility not to put nails in the eye of the other glasses, or however we have to put this. The responsibility is that overt. You can't see that. You can't see that you can't, for the sake of casual personal profit, put nails in another person's eye. You can't see how that is an obvious factual relationship, that your existence becomes a very negative and bad and destructive thing. Let me think of how else to metaphor. I mean, you were talking about your mother dying of cancer. So you have some recognition that she was in a negative, disabled state. And that maybe if she was in a stronger state, it would have been okay for the nun to say something. But because she's in a weakened state, it's not okay. So at least you seem to have some capacity to understand that there are states that are better than other states. So can't you understand that it wouldn't be good to put somebody in the dying state for a nickel? You can't understand that responsibility, that you don't have, that would be irresponsible for you, for the profit of a nickel, to unnecessarily cause somebody to die more than once, or to have some circumstance, some negative thing happen to them. So one of you, so you are your followers. You just made the pronouncement that you have no evidence of anything, any of this responsibility thing, that it doesn't exist. So you're telling me that there is no reality to this principled understanding, this relationship between your welfare and the welfare of the other sentient beings and your interaction with them. And there is no consequence for the fact that if you were to do it, it would not be irresponsible. It could not be described as irresponsible for you to stick nails in other people's eyes for a nickel, for the profit of one nickel. Now, there's no point in doing this, right? See, he needs this absoluteness. He needs to abolish it all. Because if he leaves any grain of value open, it'll be enough to deny him his right. That's what it comes down to, really, because he knows that's the truth of it. That he is accomplishing nothing but satisfying his selfish internal ambition. That the real solution to the problem is not to make a world that he can feed on for free. The real solution is to not make his impulse to feed.
It's just, the argument gets switched over when you start questioning that. People that are defending that point of view just sort of switch around. They sort of.
So again, there's more insinuations about these other people. No naming of the names, no pointing to the argument, nothing. Just this vague slop he just throws in our general direction. Fucking more Irish pussiness.
Turn the tables on you and say, you mustn't ask questions like that, that's forbidden. This is precisely the tendency that has resulted in the resurgence of militant Islam, if you ask me. It has nothing to do with the Muslim.
No, it has everything to do with the fact that we killed all the civilized Muslims, so the only ones left are the crazy breeding stock. Yeah, the ignorance. We drove the countries back into the Stone Age, and so what? You have a bunch of Stone Age Muslims. Yeah, duh. What happened to America? Look, when things got rough in America, we had a whole bunch of fucking caveman Christians who were all over the place. All of a sudden, they were all running around everywhere with their goddamn bazookas.
Religion in and of itself, it just has to do with the fact that the blasphemy laws and the blasphemy culture in the Islamic world prevents people from asking the appropriate questions about it.
Yes, fundamentalism be bad. Again, the same blasphemy. You got burned as a witch in this country, so let's not pretend it wouldn't be the same thing. So once you destroy intellectualism, all right, yes, you'll be left with people who just have their bigotry, their racism, and their simple notions. Okay? The South Americans, for example, they'll just bow to the Pope, whatever the Pope says. The Pope says, stick your head up your ass, they'll do it.
Their faith. So they're unequipped for the big questions because they've had that sort of inner blind spot inculcated in them, and it's an outer blind spot as well, because you're in trouble the second that you say anything that might rock the boat in most Islamic societies.
Okay, this is all kind of not very important, right? So let's just see, we'll jump ahead. Okay, I mean, who really cares about his analysis of world religion? I don't care.
At least free-thinking Hindus, and there's an awful lot of free-thinking Hindus.
Oh, whatever. Some more rubbish. Thinking and Hindu don't go together. Sorry, no sale.
Exploited conspiratorially throughout human history and massively exploited. But I don't believe that at bottom it's an actual conspiracy. I think it's a way to explain.
Whatever. So yes, religion is a conspiracy to control people. So yes, he doesn't. Yes, it's a way. It's the primitive microwave oven. Yeah, it's the primitive philosophy, primitive science. That's what religion is. It's primitive science. So, like the iron spoon, okay, like the, we come up with a million, like, the scalpel made out of a stick. Yeah, the brain surgery tools made out of sticks. Like those, it should be thrown into the pile of the crap you bury as an artifact. The ash heap of history is where religion belongs. Yes. And underneath that ash pile should be the solipsistic lunatics who don't think intelligence makes you see more. Fuck you, crazy bastard. Anyway, till next time. I used up a lot of time, right? Yeah, 44 minutes, pretty good. Yeah, okay, we won't use it all. We'll be responsible and not eat all the pie. I mean, you could just do a million examples, right? I mean, this guy just thinks there's no true, real relationship between right and wrong, efficient, inefficient, good behavior, bad behavior, in the sense that it would be okay. There's no problem. There's no problem a smart brain could see as a problem if he were to go into a kid's birthday party and just take the birthday cake and eat it all. This, we go back to stealing the candy from the baby. He doesn't see conceptually any problem with this. I shouldn't have to work for it. What, the baby's father had to work for the lollipop and he had to spend 5 hours doing hard labor? Why can't I just steal it? I don't have any responsibility to his work. Come on. Prove it. Right. Fuck you.